Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another roster update video. Now, yes, first things first, EA beat me to the punch on this. In terms of deadline moves, number one, we had to wait to see what was going to happen with the Evgeny Dodonov situation. And I also decided kind of late that I wanted to update overalls, potentials, and most importantly, I'd say player positions, as well as I've continued to update those throughout the year. So it's a little bit late, but hey, the video is finally here. Before we get into it, I want to mention a couple of things, though. Now, first and foremost, I want to mention that, hey, you might not know about my other channels, which I want to point these out. They're always in the description. I have my second channel, TWOGIE24, that's Tougie24, where we've been posting a whole bunch of stuff, and you're going to hear more about that channel as well heading into April. Some big changes coming. And as well, the Tougie's Take podcast. Of course, you can watch it on YouTube. You can listen on Spotify, Apple, Google. It's everywhere. That was our big trade deadline episode that was recently put out. I was going to say our most recent episode was the big episode that we put out. We talked about every single team. It was myself, one of my co-hosts, Nando Mills, and a good friend of the channel, Danny Webster, who covers the Vegas Golden Knights professionally for the Las Vegas Sun publication there. So I wanted to just promote those things in case, hey, you weren't so sure that those were going on. And of course, we stream every night on Twitch as well in the late night hours. So there you go. In terms of these updates, right, we're going to talk about this shit again and again, as we always do. I will state right off the top, you will see overalls that you disagree with. You will see potentials that you disagree with. And that is okay. I do things in a certain way. I have never said in a serious way that it is the best way to do it. I'll say it jokingly that it is to people who are just like, oh, this sucks. Which, hey, you can think it sucks, it's fine, but I'm going to be sarcastic back to you. That's the way it is, that's the way I am. Deal with it. Don't throw shots if you can't take them back, homie. But the main thing to state here is this, and you have to remember, I take the term overall seriously. If there is someone who's a really good offensive player that has bad defense, guess what? They're not going to be a 95 overall, or a 90, or even maybe an 88 like they would be with EA's rosters. Again, different things to look at beyond just point totals. I will answer any questions, but you're going to see some stuff that you disagree with, and that's okay. Because if you think about this, the absurdity of this, we are trying to put a number, a 2-digit number, as a representation of how good somebody is at hockey. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous concept in the first place. It just is. On top of that, we have a limited number of resources available. There's only so many attributes EA puts into the game. There's only so many X factors they put into the game. It is an imperfect science, okay? Now, I'm still looking forward to the comments. Oh, this sucks. You shouldn't do this way. And it's fine. I welcome those because, let's be honest, comments like that help the engagement on my videos. Let's be honest. It's perfectly fine. But at the same time, this is all stuff I've said before. I'm sure some of you get it. Now, of course, you'll see stuff like, oh, why is Troy Terry a high elite? You know, just trying to make sure that the Ducks don't really give him up. And, I mean, yeah, he'll cap out probably around a 90, a 92, which, I mean, Jesus, if he continues at that current pace, why not? You'll see someone like Gerald Mayhew, who's been on a pretty good run of form recently. And we've had examples like that in the past little bit, where throughout the year I've had some people have some, good attributes, good overalls, and then, they couldn't sustain it. We drop them right back down. It almost presents, though, a window in time. Big elephant in the room, of course, no updated player pictures, because, of course, this roster is, the custom file is based off of what happened or what we were provided at the beginning of the year, which also means draft picks. We have no way to move them, despite this being my deadline update. We have no way to move anything, unfortunately. So you have to make the call as to whether or not you really want those draft picks to be accurate, use EA's roster and customize a bit from there, or you can do what I do typically at this stage and just either say, I'll deal with it, or you do have the option within franchise mode to go ahead and set the draft picks back to just being default, and then everyone gets their 1 through 7 if that's what you want to do. But as always, again, we have everything pretty much updated. Obviously there are going to be certain people that you see where it's like, oh, that's not necessarily right. A great example for that, you have teams that are signing players onto contracts next year, which we do our best to factor that in. Pretty much it means putting someone on Sweden, at least making them available for you to sign. There's just so much that goes into this at the end of the day, right? Which, again, is why I'll say it's never a perfect science, really. If anyone thinks like, oh, are you saying that these rosters they'll play out completely accurate in franchise mode? No, of course not. There isn't a roster creator out there that can get these, any roster to and any franchise mode to consistently generate accurate results to what we're seeing in the modern NHL right now. It's impossible because this game is way too unrealistic, essentially. Now, you could argue at the same time it's not necessarily realistic for certain teams to, for certain teams to be as bad as they are, for certain teams to maybe be as good as they are. Like Nashville's overperforming in quite a few ways this season, but they might end up being a playoff team at the end of the day. And then you have a team like Montreal, the New York Islanders, where it's like, oh yeah, they'll be playoff teams. Like everyone's like, okay, maybe they'll just miss out. Instead, Montreal is bottom 3 in the NHL. It's just one of those kind of crazy things. Like there's no perfect way to replicate it. And then obviously at the same time, you know what, I'm going to go a little bit faster through this because otherwise I'm going to be really stretching for time. I'll at least show off the overalls and potentials. If you're worrying about certain X factors, hey, ask and I'll get back to you in the comments. But it's just that idea of it's way too random, and let's be honest, goaltenders in this game aren't good enough either. So that's why I'll never say, like, oh, yeah, my rosters are the best. I'll say it sarcastically, like I said, to people who are, to people that are critical as if, like, well, you didn't think of this. I have thought of everything in every way, which probably doesn't help the conversation about, like, oh, you think you know better than everyone. No, not really. But I've been customizing rosters for 10 years, 12. I started customizing rosters like on like NHL 09 or 10. So yeah, geez, it's been over 12 years at this point. And in terms of every possible way you can think to look at basic numbers, analytics, the eye test, factoring in this and that. Man, I've thought of all of it. I've set up rosters in all of those different ways too. Shout out to this rating that'll really piss people off, but guess what? He sucks defensively. He still has like 99 passing. Deal with it. I don't care. Salty Bruins fan for 2013. There you go. I'll beat you to that comment as well. Like I said, there are ratings that you'll disagree with. I don't care. I don't. The funny thing is, though, I can read the comments already. Well, you say you don't care, then why are you saying you don't care so much? Stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because this trade deadline was really, really weird. Like, you'd love to think that Colorado is going to be that much more dominant after picking up Josh Manson, or, a team like Florida now with Claude Giroux that, like, oh, they're almost guaranteed to at least make it to the conference final. But, man, you could probably sim and have the Florida Panthers miss the playoffs. Goalies don't mean a damn thing. We cannot change coaches. So flat out, you're going to load in the franchise mode and see certain people on the fourth line who shouldn't be on the fourth line. And that's simply out of your hands as a player. It comes down to the custom coaches that get assigned to the teams at the start of each franchise mode. And unfortunately, that means you can sit there and watch as a team plays someone on a lower line who shouldn't be there. Shout out to Tyler Seguin, by the way. I can't believe he's kind of fallen off like he has. Radulov, too. Dallas is a weird team in this update. But, yeah, like I said, everything is updated. Positions, overalls, player types, the potentials. A lot of it's based off of trying to match up what would be proper trade value within franchise mode. Because, let's be honest, as we know, too, a lot of potentials in this game suck. There is no reason to use a low 6, a low 4. I mean, yeah, you can get those guys to develop into usable people, but end of the day, there's just so many limitations on us and so many things that, in my opinion, don't really work as they should or could be better, that it forces you to kind of make some tough decisions. But at the end of the day, like I said, I stand by these rosters, not only, of course, from a simming perspective, but from a gameplay perspective as well. I mean, there'll still be people that are mad that it's like, oh, well, you still have like 99 DK, 99 hand, 99 puck control on everybody. At the same time, though, like I said, it doesn't have a major effect in the simming, and it makes gameplay more fun. Flat out does. Makes the AI more creative and more fun to play against. That's my preference. Doesn't have to be yours. Everyone has a different preference for how they like this game to play. Some people enjoy HUT, whereas I think the gameplay for Ultimate Team is the worst. So, bottom line is, I mean, for something like this, you know how this type of video goes. I sit here, I scroll through the stuff, I rant and ramble until I think of other things, and there you go. And then we get through this. Worth noting as well, for salary cap retentions, case in point. Again, keep in mind, you will see certain players, and you would have seen it on the Anaheim Ducks early on, and if you wrote a comment and are now hearing this, and you're like, oh shit, he did address it, you know, certain players have had to have their contracts raised, whether to make the team cap compliant or to factor in salary retention. So, for example, the Ducks, yeah, and obviously special attention was paid to make sure that it wasn't like a two-way or, you know, an RFA where it would affect their future qualifying offer or anything like that. Like I said, we thought of everything here. We thought of everything. We have fun here. Shout out to Minnesota. 3rd round pick for Nick Delorier. Takes a lot of balls. A lot of balls to give up a 3rd round pick for Nick Delorier. But then they also have Marc-Andre Fleury. And I think he'll actually still have his Chicago gear here. I'm going to leave that because now it's like, oh, hey, he just went to the new team. We'll update the gear for a future update when player gears are updated. And again, I want to shout out AJ Duelist, who a lot of you guys might know on the PS4 side, who does his own custom options. He's been helping me out a lot with goalie gear, custom player faces, stuff like that. It's also a creator by the name of Superhighway, who has quite a few tutorials for custom player faces as well. So a big shout out to those two in particular for helping me out here. By the way, look at that. Cole Caulfield. How do you like that? Boy, it's almost as if someone plays well, their overall goes up, instead of just making their overall good by default because that's their reputation. Sorry, there's no reputation ratings or EA Legacy ratings here. Eric Shalgren, I heard, is up to a 78 because he had 4 good games with the Maple Leafs. It's a choice on EA's part. Not something that I'm going to follow. Not something that you'll see here. God, what else? What else is there to discuss? So now, Phil Myers is still going to be on Nashville. He got loaned to the Marlies. You load in the franchise mode. He just ends up on the Preds anyway. No real point in doing anything special there. There will be some players in the AHL that have had to have their contracts removed. That's been a constant theme throughout these updates because, of course, when you load into a franchise mode, the AI likes to auto-sign players. So I thought of that because, for example, on the New York Rangers, Keith Kincaid, it will be on an AHL-only deal to the Hartford Wolfpack because otherwise they end up cutting people and prospects that they shouldn't. Limbaum, as a goaltender, is the primary example there. And, of course, shout out to the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to sign 8 goalies. I think they have 7 now. So Michael Hutchinson is on a Marlies-only deal now because they have too many damn goalies after acquiring Carter Hutton. Like I said, there is no perfect way to do this. We have an extremely limited... Remember when I said be patient for Igor Shesterkin, by the way? It's a 3-year rating scale as well for a lot of these guys. And, of course, if someone's a rookie like Moritz Seider, I'm factoring in a 3-year scale, reducing the overall. And still he ends up being that good. People will be mad about Artemi Panarin and completely ignore the fact that he has nothing but offensive abilities and is going to be amazing. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I like hearing how people would do things differently. I do. But I am very happy with these rosters, how franchise mode plays out. End of the day, and again, shout out, if you see someone like Brady Tkachuk or whoever, it's like, oh, why are they so low? Their defense sucks. It's an overall. Brady Tkachuk has a 90 offense but a 70 defense. Let's make him an 88. It's not how we do things here. It's not. He's still a high elite with a bunch of badges. He'll still be killer within franchise mode. Don't worry. We'll miss you, Zach Senyshyn in Boston. He played like 2 games as a Bruin, if that. But like I said, it's a completely imperfect system. I like the results of it. Give it a shot. Of course, it is Series S and Series X only. Hopefully in the future we get cross-gen, cross-plat, and the whole shebang. Shout out to Scott Lawton, who, trust me, that's one of those ratings where if I had bias and wasn't just looking at numbers, I'd just be like, 82-ish. But the guy's good. Like I said, we take a look at their ice time, how well they are, how well they're doing with that ice time. Are they good for a second line forward, bad for a second line forward? It's all about balancing it out. Shout out to Sidney Crosby, by the way, who goes up in OVR. Imagine that. Didn't just keep... It was a cardinal sin from some Penguins fans. I didn't dare keep Sidney Crosby at 92 until he retired. It's brutal stuff, It's brutal. It's brutal. But a lot of goaltenders have gotten quite a few updates as well. Pretty happy with that. God, the San Jose Sharks re-signing Tomas Hertl until the end of time. There are some really interesting teams to use here. That's kind of what I like about the state of these rosters right now and just kind of the state of the NHL in general. There's a lot of teams you could look to rebuild, look to immediately go for a cup run with. There's a lot of possibilities. And then there's whatever the hell the Seattle Kraken are doing, to which I can't answer that because they are so much worse than they should have been. Shout out to Ville Husso, who I can no longer say is bad. He's very, very good, in fact. Shout out to Nick Leddy, who I can say is average, and I don't know what the hell the Blues were doing, but at least they got Luke Witkowski as a face puncher. Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas both got better. Tarasenko, still good at passing the puck. Hit a little bit of a skid here, though, for this season. Tampa is gross. Stamkos and Kucherov, it's defense. Again, look at Kucherov's X factors. You think he's not still going to be good offensively? Come on now. He's still going to be great. And then, God, they get Hagel and Nick Paul, and I'm so scared for the playoffs that the Bruins have to play them. Even though the Bruins beat them tonight, actually, which was nice. Without Patrice Bergeron, by the way. I will take that type of victory every day of the week. Peter Mrazek is probably my new favorite player based off of his attributes. I'll let you take a look at which ones might make him a little bit fun to watch in-game. Why not? See what the hell happens. You do get some ratings, though. Man, Justin Hall, I don't think I'd put him at an 84. At least, man, if you listen to Leafs fans. But then again, that's my favorite thing about the eye test, because Leafs fans will be like, Justin Hall's not good. I can't help but think, though, Leafs fans, just like any other fan, a hardcore fan of their team, might just come up with some biases, They might. It's your eyes against numbers. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Shout out to Ilya Mikheyev, who got a hell of a lot better. John Tavares actually keeps dropping a little bit, which is shocking. That contract for the Leafs is looking rough. JT Miller's a goat. Brock Besser has fallen off a little bit. I don't know what the hell to make of this Canucks lineup. The defense, though, credit to OEL, getting better throughout the year. In goal, Thatcher Demko improved. You're welcome, Canucks fans, for dropping Yaroslav Halak. Vegas, it was very fun to try to make this team cap compliant. So that they don't auto-cut people or change contract salaries. Again, all that's factored in, so nothing's going to be overly screwed up. Had to drop Jack Eichel a little bit. It was pretty surprising. Even more surprising that defense is still the best part of his game over the past 3 seasons. But it was the system, I guess, he was playing in Buffalo. Poor Nolan Patrick. I don't know how much longer I can keep him as a low elite. I really don't. Washington, Kuznetsov got a nice little upgrade. There are a couple of other changes here throughout. Of course, they got Marcus Johansson. Defense, still pretty damn good. Shout out to TVR, who keeps getting better and better throughout the year, too. And then Winnipeg is where we round things out. So I think I have every base covered. Like I said, you have any questions, ask away. If I get back to you, that does not mean, you can't take criticism because you responded to me. Give me criticism. But at the end of the day, if you see something that's like, I think this is stupid, well, I'm going to respond and explain, well, here's the thought process behind it and the formula behind it. It's called having a conversation, which I am more than willing to have. I just talked to myself for 20 minutes while scrolling through overalls. I love conversations, even if they're with myself. At the end of the day, like I said, imperfect system, different way of trying things. If you want to test it out, you can do so. If you don't, there are plenty of other rosters out there. That is the beauty of this. Regardless of what system you are on, there are people out there doing things, making rosters. I've covered Snipe and Scores rosters on this channel as well in the past. There's things to look at. There's things to look at. So let's go ahead and we will make this Tougie version 5. Can I do deadline day? Can I do deadline day? Tougie version 5 deadline day. Hey, there we go. There we go. We will select that, and you guys already know these details. Updated transactions, overalls, all the fun stuff. But now you know what to look for. I won't bore you while I type all this out. Thank you for watching, for supporting this channel. Like I said, check out everything else I got going on as well. Worth noting as well, this is going to be uploaded on March 25th, this Saturday. I will be live within the NHL 22 directory on Twitch in the afternoon, 2 to 4, with Lazarus Esports with the Chevrolet Good Deeds Cup. I'll be alongside Mr. Grisgold as well, who some of you more familiar with the competitive community here for EA NHL might be familiar with. He and I will be alongside Olympic gold medalist Sarah Nurse, which is cool as hell. Arda Ocal and Mr. Steve Dangle on the broadcast as well. It's a first of its kind of competition, a shootout style format there, tournament style. Check that out, that'll be fun. And then the next day, this Sunday as well, a 2 p.m. Eastern start time, it's my next charity stream, still working alongside the wonderful people at Soft Giving. And this time out, after raising almost $11,000 a week before Christmas for the American Cancer Society. This time out, I'm raising money for a charity called Hope for the Day. It's a, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, but a cause that's near and dear to my heart. They help make mental health care more accessible to those that need it. And of course, if you've followed this channel for any amount of time, you'll know I haven't been afraid to talk about stuff like that in the past, and I won't be. We're looking to raise money there as well. I got a lot of brands involved, so a lot of items in the giveaway. Very excited for that. Great opportunity for you guys. I don't care if you donate $1 or if you donate 100, you have an opportunity to maybe walk away with some cool prizes. And the top donator on that stream, if we hit our goal, we're going to try to hit 10K again. If we hit our goal, top donor gets to decide what haircut I'm getting and what color my hair is. Because last time we shaved my head bald, and I look good bald. Thank God, because it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So, hey, make sure to check that out. Again, a rare afternoon stream for me, raising money for charity for a great cause. Check that out as well. So much going on. This is going to be a very, very busy year for me, but I'm excited for it. And again, it's been good for NHL 22 with the addition of roster sharing. I probably could have typed the whole thing out while I was talking about all of that, but you know what? I didn't. So for now, thank you guys for watching. Again, if you're on the Series S or X, check out this roster file. Let me know what you think. If you hate it, cool. I still love you. Or maybe not. I don't know. It depends on what you say. You're gonna give me a reason to get into an argument? Maybe I get a little bit defensive? Maybe I don't know how to take the criticism. I don't know. I love you. Thank you for watching.